Taking it, sitting high. Watch them racing in the sky. Pedal to the metal, water on the eyes. Who do you think's gonna claim the prize? The winner will stick in the air. Watch and see. Lucky number 9. 9 got it. 9 shot it. 9 got it. 9 won it. That was so close. 3 you were close. 13 you were close. Last one to come down. That is how you know who won that round. 9 got it. 9 shot it. That's you. Sorry guys that win. Hope you had fun, man. Last one to come down. That's how you know who won that round.
I've done it my whole life. So I'm 62 years old. I was born in it. I was 6 months old, on the road with my parents. Well, it was a family business. So as I grew up, I started in the good old days when wasn't so many rules and regulations. 12 years old, I was a pretty big kid. My father put me as an operator on a helicopter ride. And I worked here ever since. So I guess that's how I got my occupation. The carnival business sometimes was not thought of as a business by a lot of people. They thought we're fly-by-nights, this and that. We're under more rules and regulations than most industries. But it was so important in this country, the amusement industry. In World War II, Roosevelt made sure the carnivals had gas ration stamps so they could move around, just for the people had to have something to enjoy during that crisis in America during the war. That's a fact. If you went to the fair today, it's cold out there, it's chilly out there, the place was mobbed. People still enjoy it. It's still one of the cheapest forms of entertainment. The amusement industry moves millions and millions and millions of people this year, in a year. I'm talking about amusement parks, Disney Worlds, portable carnivals in this country alone. Well, you know, you start out, you go to a little 3-day festival, a little fire company, they want to raise a few $1,000s, you know, 3-4 rides. And next thing you know, you get 6 rides or 8 rides or 10 rides, and the spots get bigger. You know, you go to the bigger cities, you play for bigger fire companies, you play for a greater size audience, you go where the people are, more people are. And you invest your money, you know, you raise a little bit, you invest. You try to grow the show, and then, you know, that's how you do it. That's why you do it. Everyone did the same things, little steps. Buy one, pay for it. Buy another one, pay for it. Buy another one, pay for it. Back in them days, there was government incentives and this and stuff we don't have today. Investment credits and this and that. So, and that helped generate funds to build the company. It's more difficult, any business. It's got more difficult, more restricted, more regulations, more rules, more regulations. You know, we move people. The first hurdle where it started changing, which is for the good, is ride inspections. The states started to get into amusement ride inspections. They're going to come out and inspect the rides before you set them up every week, or as you set them up, for safety concerns. Well, that was good. That's a good thing to have more eyes looking, because you're human. Sometimes you might miss a pin or this or that, but inspection was the first thing. Now here comes the government with guys from the elevators, that inspect elevators, trying to inspect amusement rides. That was the first hurdle. We finally got with the states, we got with some organizations, and we have very good education now across this country for amusement ride safety with the states. The second hurdle, then the insurance went out of sight. Insurance went crazy. Lawyers, this and that, so we had an insurance crisis. So we finally conquered that hurdle. So it's starting to get harder and harder and harder. The bottom line shrinking like any business. Now it's labor. We can't get enough help. We're forced to foreign labor. And because we're forced to foreign labor with the H-2B program, now we're in bed with the federal government. And you're praying and hoping. You're praying and hoping that you get your labor. A couple of times I didn't get my labor. Last year I didn't get my labor until June. I struggled mightily to move my carnival from April till June, till my labor came. Nobody wants to work in this country no more. So that's that hurdle. That's when it's changed. You know, it was different then. You know, there was Fat Tony, there was Lurch, there was them guys year after year after year. Them guys are gone. We can't get guys. You know, and that'll probably be the reason I give it up, is the labor issue, unless they fix it. Well, they got to make it easier for us to get labor. Okay, if we get labor, now we use the H-2B program with the federal government. And I do, my first thing is I hire as many American guys as I can. My recruitment this year, newspaper, internet, one application. And you want to know what the application was? The guy said, hey, the unemployment officer says I got to look for a job. I really don't want to go on the road, but I got to look for a job. So I'm using you as a, you know what I mean, scapegoat. So anyway, I got 0. If we get cap relief, I stand a chance of getting my labor. So that's where I'm at. So that's the reason a lot of guys will be quitting, trust me, if they don't fix this labor problem perfectly. Well, we've had, we've been very, we've had some traffic accidents over the years. That's been very challenging. You lose a ride or this or that. We had an accident where there was a fatality. A girl got killed. That was very heart-wrenching. It was a stupid thing. And, you know, rides breaking down their machines. We've been very lucky. We have a very good safety program. Safety's number one. Them rides, every day we look at them rides. We inspect them top to bottom. We have, you know, there's tests, there's NDT, non-destructive testing we do on this stuff, and we work on it every day to keep it safe. But I mean, the biggest challenge now is I'm 62 and I can't do what I did when I was 42. You know, I'd work all night. I'm sore, I get achy, but that's probably the biggest obstacle. But I love what I do, so I never worked a day in my life because I love what I do. Even though I bitch about it, I ain't gonna lie. There's days I hate it, but more than often, I love what I do. Okay, it's not the job and the business. It's not the work. It's all the other stuff that makes it harder. You know, you're going to have a ride breakdown, but you got to have the knowledge to fix it. We do. We got the chop truck full of parts. Which we have everybody. I know every manufacturer I bought a ride from personally, and I got them on speed dial if I have an issue. Over the road, like I said, we had a couple accidents. Okay, we had one fatality, which is terrible. We busted up a few rides, but we rebuilt them rides. And you know, that's about, you know, that's the hardship is when you have something like that. But you try hard not to. You put good people around you. You have meetings. You have safety. You know, you have education. You know, so it never stops. I'll tell you what my favorite part is. My favorite part is when that stuff's running and them little kids are smiling from ear to ear, okay? And they're having a good time. And the relationships I just talked about with these sponsors that I've been doing for years and years and years. I grew up as a kid myself. I knew their parents, I know them. That's the best part, the relationships you make, the friends you make, the people you meet, and them smiling kids, okay? And then when you go there and that brand new fire truck sitting over there to help, God forbid somebody's got a fire or a new ambulance, and you help pay for that by being part of their fundraiser. And that's what I'm proud of. And that's what I like the best about it. And that's what keeps me going. I've done it my whole life. So I'm 62 years old. I was born in it. I was 6 months old, on the road with my parents.